Hi guys, my name is Amy. I'm part of the Midwest team at Redox Bio-Nutrients, and I'm here with the Scebold.
Hey, Chad Scebold with Redox. Hey, I'm excited to be out in Burley, Idaho. The sun just came up. We were waiting for the sun. Geez, it's like that East Coast time out in Boston versus Idaho. We're up in bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
Yep.
Listen, I think what's really cool is we know we're going to get a chance to look behind the scenes a little bit later, but currently in production with RDXN and a bunch of other products. But I'm excited to see and showcase some of the results that we had this year. I'm telling you what, you guys, there's a lot of really interesting things when you start looking about the marketplace, the things that are happening, the ones that are in the marketplace winning, the ones that are actually doing things that move the needle. It's great to be recognized by our peers. I heard some good news over the last couple of weeks. We've been recognized as Product of the Year by Farm Journal.
Yep, new Product of the Year, so you can still get out the vote between now and the end of December for Farm Journal. And I think part of that is just kudos to the results that we're getting out of the Midwest, right? Whether you're on manure ground or you're on tough ground or you're on dry land under pivot, we are seeing consistent win rate of 8.
Well, it's right now, so the data's still coming in, as you all know. Like it's a process, and it doesn't matter if it's CROs or total acre trials, and again, I think you were grateful is what the word that you used earlier. It was like the producers that were willing to work with us and even buy or demo product this year.
Yeah.
That data that's came in is an 83% win rate with a replacement average of around 38 pounds of nitrogen.
Yeah.
So very phenomenal, right? Like almost hard to believe. We want to see the rest of the data come in, but we're 70% in from 25.
Yeah, and just when guys are looking ahead for next year, right, there's going to be some real savings there, right? Whether you're replacing 25, 30, 45 pounds of nitrogen on top of the increase in plant yield and health you can get from RDXN at 16, 32 ounces. I mean, it's the easy button, right?
Well, and again, kudos, I think is what you used was the terminology. Kudos to you because of your work in the marketplace and what you've been doing, it's driving production.
So more to come. If you are interested in learning more about RDXN or what we're doing here in Burley, Idaho, visit redoxgrows.com.
And by the way, don't forget, vote for RDXN on Product of the Year. Check it out at Farm Journal. I think it's called The Scoop.
Yep, The Scoop. You can vote on The Scoop.
I think between now and the end of the year, we'd appreciate the vote. Thanks, y'all. Good to see you. All right, Aim. Still early in the morning. Let's take them on a quick little tour and showcase. Listen, it's one thing to build product and then have product in a greenhouse, but have it in the facilities. Let's show them a little bit behind the scenes.
Yeah, let's go to the greenhouse.
All right, let's check it out.
Come on in.
Welcome to Amy's crib.
Yeah, check it out. Okay.
So Aim, starts here, right? When you start looking at new product technology, I know you're looking at RDXN, started 22 years ago, really 10 years ago commercially, and in the Midwest, really the last 3 years.
Yeah.
But it starts here, right? CRO. Yep.
And when we're looking at new modes of actions and molecules, they actually go through 5 stages. So the first one is movement. How is that mineral ion or that bionutrient actually going to move through the soil into the plant, right? Second one is absorption, right? How is it going to get in and move through the plant? And then it's translocation, right? We have to get it to where it needs to be, right? Metabolism, right? How is that plant going to metabolize it, unwrap that mineral nutrient, get it to it? And then finally, utilization. Once we get to where it needs to be, it needs to go to work. So all those 5 stages need to be looked at, and it has to check all those boxes. And we have that ISO 9001 certification, so our level of quality has to be unparalleled too.
Unmatched.
Yeah.
I think my advice for the ones that don't get that and understand that, what you just heard right there, if you're not looking at those 5 things as you look at products, start to consider it. I think when you start looking at it, again, not huge, but the greenhouse that we have out here in Burley is a starting point for new technology. CROs is really a secondary. Third is kind of the stuff that we're doing with Total Acre, working with partners to be able to showcase technology.
Peer-to-peer.
Peer-to-peer. And then I think my favorite is working demos and guys that are buying product because they know that it works from a trusted company. The ISO 9000 actually helps. And oh, by the way, Redox has been around for 32 years. So products that work certainly help. Let's take them out here. Let's check this out. So when you look at the new, I don't know total square foot, but production, a lot of production. I think looking like sometime in July when things will be, I guess, finished up. Another thing I think is kind of cool behind the scenes when you start looking at the ability to kind of do things with different crops, different commodities, right? When you start looking at tree nut fruit, really that's kind of where things started back with grapes and vineyards. But if you look over Amy's left shoulder here, for our turf guys, really what we have the ability to do is look at grass and turf and ornamentals and trying to figure out how we can do what we can do best. And then I think over here too, not many apples on the trees this time of year, but I will tell you they're still mowing, so that should tell you something. A little bit warmer here than it is out in Boston and in New York.
Oh, you don't even need a coat these days out here in Idaho.
Or Nebraska, right? at the end of the day, though, what is nice is having these proving grounds to be able to showcase our technologies. And again, I think you as producers that are out there working with us across the states, we appreciate you. I think what you talk about, Amy, earlier is being able to go out there and dip your toe, right?
Yeah.
Start trying technology that's new, maybe to you, but it's been around for quite some time.
100%.
Aim, we realize, the cool thing about farming is you've got decisions to make, you've got choices to make, and there's a lot of different things to consider. When you look at the opportunities out there, in years like this where things get a little bit tighter, a little bit more complex, standing behind some products and I guess with some experience and the heritage of our company is always good to have that. But I think when you start looking at opportunities, really agronomically we've been agronomically sound for years.
Right.
The economics is a little bit different now, and the logistics of some of our products, use rates.
Yep. And you think about guys have to start making tough decisions going into next season. You can't continue to do the same thing and expect to increase your ROI, right? So tough decisions are going to be made. What am I going to cut out? What am I going to replace? Where can I get better efficiency from my nutrients, right? So when we talk about RDXN, for example, it'll hit all three parts. Agronomically, it increases nitrogen metabolism inside the plant.
Right.
Economically, right, we're saving, you can easily replace 20, 30 pounds of UAN and put $5 to $10 in your pocket. And then logistics, you're talking 16 to 32 ounces, right?
Yeah, and the starter fertilizer too, right? So we're talking RDXN, but when we start looking at starter fertilizer, we've been replacing starter fertilizer for the last 15 years with a product called Rutex. So, I think there's 36 different products in the product portfolio. When you start looking at the Midwest, though, we're really trying to focus it down into like 8 products, really. Yeah. And fundamentally, when you start looking at the technology and some of the stuff that we're doing, it's different than most. So we talk about plant charge balance. Yeah. We talk about RAM technologies, redox active molecules. And if you haven't heard about it yet, check out more online. Darren talks about redox active molecules quite a bit.
Yep. And RAM technology is in all of our products, right? So it's like, which one is going to create plant charge balance? They all do. And we talk about those 5 elements, right? So movement, absorption, translocation, metabolism, and utilization. Where am I spending my dollars and how am I going to make the greatest impact on agronomics, economics, and logistics? And we check all those boxes.
And again, if they're not looking at that as they're looking at products, start to look at that, agronomically. I think economically is when I talk to folks now, and you start looking at the economics, it's a big deal. Now logistics, let's talk about logistics. Let's move around a little bit. When you start talking about logistics, that's kind of cool. You got the background there with the building. But when you start talking, Aim, about some of the logistics, about how we're operationalizing our business, getting product to the field is one thing. And then use rates. So why can we have a technology that's looking at use rates half, a quarter, way less than what we traditionally would have used?
Right. Well, that goes to the manufacturing, right? We've been manufacturing and developing using these organic material for over 30 years, right? What organic materials are going in the jug, right? It's why our use rates are so low. It's because we only pull out the best, right? If you're using a ton of product, you would say, why do you got to use so much, right?
Right. Well, I think when you're talking about, let's just talk about fractionation for a second. So now as you start looking at, not all products are created equally. So, and I always like your candy jar analogy.
That's right.
Or during Halloween, as you're out doing, trick-or-treating with kiddos. And I personally like the Reese's, right? But not the Reese's Pieces. So now, like, if we can select as we need what we need for different things within the plant, that's where a premium biostimulant comes. And that's kind of the heart of the technology, is utilizing low use rates because of a powerful biostimulant technology.
Right.
So, Aim, walk with me, talk with me. So you start looking about our facilities out here in Burley, Idaho, as we continue to expand and look at opportunities to grow our business. It's all about the customer.
100%. And the network, right? The network of farmers that we work with, the network of dealers that we work with, right? We're working with guys that are basically challenging the status quo, right? Thinking outside the box. When we talk about, replacing UAN, for example, or starter fertilizer by 20, 30, 40, 50 pounds. It's like, oh, I don't know if I want to do that. But we talked about opportunity earlier, right? Right now, you have to make those decisions on economics.
Well, here's what I'm going to encourage any producer that's watching this today. One of the dealers that we work with has been around for, I think, 18 years. We were talking with them out in Indianapolis. One of the best kept secrets in ag. We aim to change that. Please reach out to us. Let us know how we can help. I think ultimately what we are in the business of doing is providing solutions. Reach out, redoxgrows.com. Talk to Amy, myself. We'd love to help you out.